So we're talking about the Epstein files again, huh? And starting to take a interesting turn. The Democrats are in full panic mode with the smearing and deleting posts right now and blocking their own bill and blaming Trump for what they seemingly created. Let me show you how their entire narrative falls apart.
Sure that the Department of Justice didn't have this information? And if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information? Do we know that there was a thorough investigation? Do we know whether or not the investigation had concluded? These are all questions that we need answers to, but we can't get them when you're not cooperating. So we don't know what the DOJ has, nor what it is that the DOJ potentially was trying to do. Considering that the president right now is trying to obstruct on some very basics of let's just get a subpoena that says release all the information, I wouldn't be surprised, just like he obstructed the prosecution of one of his henchmen who took $50,000 in taxpayer dollars from undercover officers. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. Epstein's dead. I don't want to hear anything else about
Watch
it.
this.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No, that's the whole point. I have no information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile himself, or a person who obviously is covering for pedophiles, that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
Wow. They always start the same way. Accuse first and admit you have no evidence second. But of course, that's going to be the last thing anybody hears, right? She literally says, I have no idea. That should have been the end of the segment. Instead, it was just the beginning of the smear campaign. Bubble Bath Girl, who posted this, said that Trump should sue her for defamation. Using the word may doesn't necessarily protect her in this case. Dumb move by Crockett. And watch what happens when their own host forgets to lie smoothly.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that Alex Acosta, when he in supporting...
No. Askey says predators in addition to Trump. Then reverses it like she saw that $20 million lawsuit behind the camera. They reversed that thing quick. They float the smear, then try to lawyer their way out of it. Classic. But when the DNC tried to take this hoax mainstream, they got caught immediately. Yes. Nick Sorta posted the official X account of the Democrat Party deleted their post claiming President Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. And he also wrote he was literally the president. Dumbasses. You don't think someone would have noticed that? Lastly, he added, Trump should bankrupt the DNC for this. This is the evidence right here. They posted a fake claim Trump spent Thanksgiving with Epstein while he was the sitting president. On camera. Secret Service, Coast Guard, his family, the press. They didn't care if it was stupid. It served the narrative obviously until it didn't. Delete button, go. So Trump responds the only way Trump responds. On Truth Social, he posted, the Democrats are doing everything in their everything in their withering power to push the Epstein hoax again, despite the DOJ releasing the 50,000 pages of documents in order to deflect from all of their bad policies and losses, especially the shutdown embarrassment, where their party is in total disarray and has no idea what to do. Some weak Republicans have fallen into their clutches because they are soft and foolish. Epstein was a Democrat, and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Then it gets spicy right here. Ask Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, and Larry Summers about Epstein. They all know about him. Don't waste your time with Trump. I have a country to run. Now, y'all know, I'll be completely transparent. I've been transparent. When Trump responded to the Epstein documents, he was kind of like, we were still talking about that. Y'all know I was very indifferent about that approach. But Trump reminds them, Epstein wasn't a Republican donor. He wasn't hanging around MAGA fundraisers. He was sitting next to Democrat royalty. Clinton, Hoffman, the Summers, and everyone knows it. Even people who don't like Trump have questions even Democrats can't answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then?
Great question.
What am I missing?
Nothing.
I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now.
Great question.
What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See, this is the kind of stuff that smells.
Reeks.
Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
Right. Stephen A. asked the obvious. If these files were so explosive, why didn't the Democrats open them during the 4 years of Biden? I mean, why didn't they use them during 2016? The impeachment, the lawsuits, 2020, Trump's return. Because if they had something real, they would have used it years ago. And then CNN, they accidentally confirmed what Democrats refused to say out loud.
More people look at this and say, we want all of these files released because you are behaving like a person who's guilty.
Ben?
I wish you guys gave this much thought and much obsession over this when Joe Biden was president. I wish you were asking for this much transparency when it wasn't about attacking the president of the United States of America and to score political points. I wish you guys cared about the victims as much as you care about trying to attack Donald Trump. When CNN's own reporting says, and I quote, the woman who is the survivor literally accused Democrats, not Republicans, of hiding her name because she had not alleged Trump to have done anything wrong.
You're talking about Virginia
Correct.
who we just talked about.
And my point is,
she died by, just to be clear, she died by suicide.
But, she accused Democrats when she was alive, her words of hiding her name because she had not alleged Trump to have done anything wrong. That is how sick and partisan this has become. You guys didn't care about the victims. You didn't care about anything else. And now you're saying, well, maybe Donald Trump knew of a crime and maybe didn't report it. That's just straight up slander and libel.
No, that's not slander and libel.
You're telling you just said that the president
I let you finish.
watched a crime.
You turn that glove
Can I just clear
inside
one
out.
thing up because I think this is important. I don't want this misinformation to be out there. When Virginia Giuffre said that Trump had not done anything wrong. She was not accusing, the Republicans accused Democrats of withholding her name for that reason. She just separately said that she did not see Trump do anything untoward. That's
the quote. And so I go back to the
continue.
point he made, which is that he said,
because
well,
I don't want people to think that it was that she was responding to Democrats, which she was not. But go ahead.
Wow, Abby. Virginia Giuffre, the survivor that they love to quote, actually cleared Trump. She said he didn't do anything. She said Democrats hid her name because she didn't accuse him. Yeah, you heard that correctly, by the way. And yet they want you to believe they suddenly found new evidence now. Listen to this.
So you Democrats really believe that your party waited for the last 10 plus years to unveil this information about Trump and Epstein? You really believe they let him run his campaign back in 2016? They let him beat Hillary? They let him actually assume the White House himself and stay there for those first 4 years? They impeached him not for these allegations of him and Epstein, but for some other charges the average person can't even remember themselves. But they trotted out E. Jean Carroll. They trotted out Stormy Daniels. Those were the best plays that they had, right? And then they were able to actually seize power back for themselves in 2020. They had all the levers of power at their disposal, and they did not choose to unveil this information then. And then they let him run again. They had a failed assassination attempt. He actually won again, and he was reelected as president. And then he gets back to the White House, and now, over a year after he was reelected, and on the heels of the government shutdown that the Democrats caused themselves, now you think that they are going to unveil this earth-shattering new information that is going to finally get Trump. If you really believe that, then you probably also believe that men can be women and women can be men.
Man, Damani nailed it. You'd have to believe Democrats let Trump win twice, survive everything, retake the White House, and then, years later, they magically discover new Epstein dirt after a shutdown they caused. It's not a scandal. It's a story they're writing in real time. And behind the scenes, they're playing a completely different game.
These Democrats are like, Trump's name is in the files. Release all the files. Where are the files? The Republicans are like, all right, go ahead, release them. Democrat judge says, no, we can't do that. And then Democrat politicians are like, where are the files? Why haven't they released the files? So then one of the Republican members of Congress is like, here's a bill. Let's all pass this bill to release the files. Then Congress is like, no, we can't do that without unanimous decision from the Republicans and the Democrats. Then the same Republican member says, well, the Republicans are in favor of releasing all of the files. That's when dude was like, well, we don't have a unanimous decision. We don't have a bipartisan decision to release these files. That same Republican was like, let the record state it's the Democrats that won't vote for this bill. That's when the dude in Congress was like, no, we don't make a record of who opposes the bills. Now the Democrat politicians are back out there like, look at these emails. They got Trump's name in them. Why won't Trump release the files? Maybe because he tried and y'all keep fucking blocking it. And you keep blocking it because you know there's nothing in there that proves Trump is guilty. Meaning, if you release all of the files, this entire hoax comes to an end. And the Democrats can't have that happening before the elections. So in the meantime, they're going to keep acting like Trump has something to hide while they're the ones blocking the release of the files in the background. It's the same old game they always play, just with a different topic. Like how they just shut the government down and then blamed that on the Republicans. Same old script. Create a problem, draw attention to the problem, claim that somebody else is at blame for the problem, and then claim you can only fix the problem if they vote for you.
Man, Democrats yell. I'm going to sum up what he basically said over. Democrats yell, release the files. Republicans go, no, okay. Here's the bill. Democrats. Well, the Democrat judge went, nope. Then you got them politicians. We oppose it, but don't record that. Then they go right back on TV saying, why won't Trump release the files? Create the problem, block the solution, blame the other guy. It's their oldest trick. And while they're doing this circus routine, here's what's actually happening.
Oh, you ain't wait so long to pick up the phone this time, huh? You knew I had some piping hot tea, so let's get into it. Listen, China.
Now, I'm sorry. Before she go, I have to say I was literally waiting on her response.
Piping hot tea, so let's get into it. Listen, China agreed on a plan to stop harmful fent from coming over here. You know, fent that get you sent, right? You know, they was like circumventing their way to get it over here through Argentina, Venezuela, Colombia, you know, the little South American countries. Right. Well, Trump went over there, struck a deal. It won't be coming over here, the harmful stuff anymore. They are going to now require a license to export certain chemicals to the U.S., fent being one of them, right? But just in case, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, he launched Operation Southern Spear. Let me tell you what that is, child. They're using tech and robotics to detect cartel activity in the ocean. Right. You got the fast boats, bitch. We got Elon. We win again. Listen, let's talk about this Epstein stuff. Now, when the shutdown was over and the Democrats didn't get what they want, I knew they were going to pull a stunt. I just wasn't sure which kind of stunt they were going to pull. Well, we see now. Got the tea on that. Listen up. Virginia Giuffre, that's the victim in the Epstein files, you know. She never implicated Trump in any wrongdoing. Matter of fact, she cleared his name. She unfortunately lost her life to suicide in April of 2025, this year, right? Now, apparently, she came back from the dead and said, I take it back. Now, I don't know how they did it, if they got a medium, I don't know. But the crazy thing is, if you had it all this time, why wait till now to release it? Well, we're going to go a step further. If you want to hide anything from a Democrat, just put it in an official document. You know, just tell them something, they're going to make memes off of it and never think to read. So I read it. Nothing in those emails says that Trump did anything. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. But this is why you don't move off emotions. Y'all so mad that you didn't get what you want from the shutdown. You released an email that could possibly implicate your favorites in a Russia collusion that we've been talking about. So it ain't going to be no fun because the rabbit going to have the gun again. Checkmate. When y'all going to learn? Anyway, listen. Now that the shutdown is over and SNAP benefits have been released, the poor children can eat because the fine, upstanding citizens who are on SNAP have now taken to Facebook to sell their damn food stamps for cash. I can't make this up. Now, I know y'all gonna say something like, well, what are they supposed to do for money? And for some strange reason, I figured work. But who are me? What do I know? Apparently, shit. Anyway, I'm glad y'all picked up. Listen, the link is in the bio because you've been asking me for it. You know, since they say he a king, might as well king him, you know. Anyway, get your shirts and I'll call y'all back. Love y'all. Bye.
Hold on, let me make sure y'all get a view of the shirts. Y'all know I always leave their X handle accounts in the pinned comment for you guys to follow them. This is Kai Bennett, or Benet, rather, excuse me. I keep saying her name completely wrong. She gonna watch this video. If she watches this video, I'm like, man, come on, bruh. My bad, queen. My bad, queen. However, I did want y'all to get a glimpse of that. But Trump is cutting fentanyl routes. Like I said, that fent launching new tech at the border because we got Elon. And ultimately restoring order after the shutdown. SNAP is reopening and families are eating. Meanwhile, Democrats are inventing hoaxes, deleting lies, and accusing without evidence, blocking transparency. Also calling you crazy for nothing. No, I'm just saying, here's the truth. If Trump was guilty, they'd have dropped this evidence in 2016, 2020, 2024, or the first 10,000 times they tried to take him out. They didn't because they can't. The Epstein files don't expose Trump. They expose them from where I'm sitting. Now, if y'all made it to the end of the video, just put release the files. We're not even going to make this difficult today. Be safe. Go check on a friend. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.